Episode 6. This is the cast podcast. Can I get a one time? We got Luisa L. I'm Sammy BE on the boards. You already know it's John Sterling. We are the cast podcast. What's up? One time.
What is going on? How was your week?
All right. My week was good, man. How was your week, Luisa L?
My week was good. Just shooting a little bit. Just got done with a shoot today.
Yeah.
Updating.
Yeah, man. I seen your. No. I was gonna say I seen your Instagram and your social media. A couple of shoots going on. Now the weather's getting hot, so we get a lot more photo shoots.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just not good with posting a lot, and I know that that's required of, I don't know, work these days and all, but it's just so hard to just be so locked in and do that a lot. So that sucks, but pictures to come soon. I did a body painting thing, a project, which is pretty sweet. So I'll be posting that soon. For all of you guys out there who want to follow, it's Luisa Models, Luisa Models.
Yeah, that's both the IG and this Twitter, or just the IG?
No, at Twitter. So Twitter, so it's funny because I do this, I'm a personality on other shows, and so it's Flutesy on Twitter, FLUTESY, and big moves there too. Actually, I just did. Do you know Jim Norton?
Jim Norton sounds familiar, but maybe you could.
Yeah. He's a really big comedian. He has like a few Netflix specials. He does the Jim Norton and Sam Roberts morning show on Sirius XM. He's a really good guy, actually.
Nice.
But he's been around, and I just did his podcast for the second time. So just kind of like getting into that world and building that, which is super awesome. And I'm really humble, and like it's just a great opportunity to be in his circle and rise with that. So that's just another project that I'm doing on the side.
That's ill. What is he? I mean, it's elevating with him, or what is he saying?
Well, I mean, not necessarily, but just that that he's cool with me, and actually he lives 6 blocks away from me, so we're kind of friends now in a way, and we're just talking, and he's just a cool guy, really nice. Contrary to popular belief, because in that world you get a lot of stigmatism. I mean, kind of like in any world in show business, as you know, but contrary to popular belief, he's a really great guy, very, very nice. And the rest is history, so we'll see what happens with that, but hopefully something good.
Luisa L with the business moves, of course. But that's always
gotta strive for growth, man.
Yeah. You got to be able to be flexible, chameleon, So that's cool. Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, man. So our guest will be actually we kind of still have a guest. I'm gonna keep it under wraps until we actually get him on. But he's from the writer's showroom, if you know what that is. Let's just say he's been with the MTV. He's a big writer for MTV, one of their shows, and I guess the Viacom, and he does a lot of Instagram writing too for like comedians. So we're gonna be interviewing him pretty soon on speaking about the writer side of things, because a lot of times we interview a lot of entertainers, as you may know, all right, because you're here, you're one of the co-hosts. But he's definitely a writer. He does a lot of comedic writing, and he's actually like a big time writer, and speaking about the writer's room, and how that's all played out. But,
I'm super excited to meet him, talk to him, get to know a little bit of the behind the scenes,
right?
The backstory. That'll be fun.
Yeah. So he had rescheduled, but we'll get him on. But it is what it is, part of the business, and it's good to kind of have him in our circle and see what that's about. Let's what's going on in entertainment, man. There's a couple of different things,
Right.
You want to shoot them off, or what's going on?
Well, you were saying with the Jussie Smollett incident here, Saturday night, how he doesn't show up at the NAACP. What the hell was he thinking?
Yeah,
says
man.
Chris Rock.
Chris Rock, man, roast him. Come on, like when you have comedians, and I heard that couple other people. Trevor Noah was there in the stands, like laughing as well.
Man.
Come on,
That's terrible,
somebody like
man.
this, oh man. I mean,
And he
just the
didn't
whole.
win.
Yeah, he didn't win. But let's just talk about what's going on in Chicago in general. Chicago is really like, President Trump likes to say it's like the best of both. It's two worlds, a tale of two worlds, or something like that. He said, tale of two cities. That's what he calls it, and it really is, man. And this goes back to like the Al Capone days. You know what I mean? Chicago has always had like a corrupt aspect, and it isn't really like the tale of two cities. Like, you have this nonchalant business like community, and then you have like the gory behind the scenes dark history of Chicago, and it's been like that since the Al Capone days, and just like the struggles that any city has. But Chicago, man, secret deals,
Right.
what I mean, like secrecy. I mean, it was funny because like, again, you hear analysts and people say, oh, Chicago's always kind of been like that, where the politics and who you know and what is what, and I guess really is,
Well, they were saying that the conviction was uncertain. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah. So the prosecutor, Kim Fox, the Cook County prosecutor, which is under Chicago, Chicago is a city that's under that county prosecution, which is an elected official in Chicago. And just like how in Manhattan they have Cy Vance, who's the man DA. Every borough in the city, just on a smaller scale, has a DA that they elect. So on in the county in Illinois, it's the county elects a state prosecutor, and under the state prosecutor, in this case, Chicago's under Cook County, and she said that actually a lot of things were actually unraveling in the case, which I figured. For a lot of people don't get it mixed up. Even though there's a lot of crookedness in politics in Chicago, it's not just in Chicago, but I also knew that there had to be some type of underlying evidence that probably something wasn't right with the investigation. That you just don't drop 16 charges or 15.
Right,
charges.
exactly. Like how so
something was unraveling here, and I guess the way that she explained it, or her office explained it, wasn't valuable. They play delicate. They play a delicate position because the prosecutors work with the city, the detectives and the city police. Right? They have to. The police gathers the information and gives it to prosecutors, so the prosecutor can prosecute. That's how that's supposed to work. But I guess something with the evidence, man. Something was unraveling, or the investigative work of the testimonials, or something in that just wasn't right, and that goes with the crookedry.
The crookedry.
Crooked Chicago.
The crookedry.
Yeah,
well, it says here, I have an article in front of me that says Ms. Fox wrote that there were specific aspects of the evidence and testimony presented that made securing a conviction uncertain, and she did not elaborate.
Yeah. Something was unraveling. Something was not there that they felt that the prosecutors was not gonna be able to.
Right. But she also said that Mr. Smollett was charged with a Class 4 felony, which was on par with pulling a firearm out of school, or draft card mutilation. Those kinds of charges are routinely resolved, particularly in cases involving suspects with no prior criminal record, long before a case ever nears a courtroom, and often without either jail time or monetary penalties. So, I mean, it seems like their ultimate decision was on par with, well, as per, what this article is saying, is on par with what they would normally, I guess, do in that kind of situation. But
I think it was because it was so high profile. It was like a national thing.
Yeah.
But again, for having I think the merits is like having all charges, and a lot of things to the point of the people were saying, listen, he didn't even accept. They didn't even give him accepted guilt. There was no guilt, like as far as the charges to be. So he didn't even there's no accepted, and it's sealed. So a lot of aspects of it.
Yeah.
It just didn't look good.
Right, and then you have the other side where there's a police superintendent, Eddie Johnson, which said that the decision was like a whitewash of justice because you can't.
That's what the mayor said. The mayor said that, but the superintendent was right with him. Saying.
Eddie, yeah, right. So the police superintendent, Eddie Johnson, and then the mayor, Rahm Emanuel, right? We're saying both.
Right. Well, Emanuel said it, and then he was like, kind of like he just didn't understand that, if Eddie Johnson, who's the superintendent, who would be like the New York City police commissioner here,
right.
but for Chicago, he was just like, why hide behind secrecy? If you feel like you were wrong, or if you feel like, you were saying the truth, go through go through court. It was you who brought it, saying that you were wrong. You the one who initiated. So that's what the city is saying. The police department and the mayor saying, listen, you the one who went to the public with all this. You understand?
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Well, what do you think? What do you think? Like, do you think he actually made it up?
I think
it's so hard to fathom that, though. I
think the sheep and wolves clothing. You know what I'm saying? And Chris Rock has a point. I mean, you the one who kind of brought this, and the city has a point too. You the one who brought this to the national attention. You're the one who claimed that you were wrong. You're the one who said that people had the MAGA hat. And, for this, I think what happened was, again, it's the investigation that kind of fell apart, or there were holes, and they just felt like, what Kim Fox, the prosecutor, or the county prosecutor, was stating is that we don't have enough. There was not enough. Well, there might have been enough to convict, but maybe to the charges there was holes to make it strong enough to hold up in court.
So to actually prosecute and go through it.
So I think maybe the investigation itself, maybe, but I don't know. The city's standing by the cops saying that they did everything right. But I knew in my heart, I said, the prosecution, the state, with all the resources that the state has, and these are elected officials, staffs, just on a local level, the DA have hundreds of people in the DA in the city. So imagine on the state level, the people that they have, you know what I'm saying? So there was definitely something that wasn't there, you know what I mean? And then, her deputy is saying the same thing, that, we stand by, and she's saying, there can be an out, and, so when you start saying, the state county prosecution is saying, bring the FBI in, you know what I mean? We did everything right. So something is not,
something is not adding up. And you know what? That's a perfect segue into another case that we have both been involved in and have discovered as fraud, which is these agencies, these casting agencies. Yeah, let's put it on blast. We need to put this on blast.
Okay. All right, so, and this is kind of like, also, you can also say this like a tutorial for people who are trying to get into acting, and especially different acting and modeling, and any agency that you're trying to go into, and we use certain sites, and I'm not just it's not just Craigslist or just any sites that you may use, or IMDb or whatever you use to get to use to
just get gigs, further your career, go on these castings.
People should definitely should be careful with these sites.
Absolutely.
And I'm not doubting, and it's what you make of it, because a site like Craigslist, using it as an example, don't want to get sued, but it's what you make of it, because Craigslist can be very credible, but it also can kind of flaky.
Right. So and I will say that I've gotten, like, the body painting gig that I got, that was off of Craigslist. I actually just booked a shoot for a jewelry store in the Lower East Side, and that was because of Craigslist, So I will give Craigslist a lot of credit. And, back when I was doing science, I actually got my job working at Mount Sinai Hospital in the city because of Craigslist. I had seen an ad and then I had applied. So it's really done well by me. But recently I actually did apply for a job, and it turned out that it was a scam. This guy, so I'm living proof, right? So very recently I applied for like a voiceover work, and this guy, we were emailing back and forth, and his name, he signed off with Charles Liam, right? And I was like, Charles Liam. I was like, that's kind of interesting. And right away I Googled the name, and what came up,
fraud stuff.
No, not even fraud stuff, because I don't even think that was his name. So it's actually Liam Charles. When you type in Liam Charles, is a British baker, television presenter, and contestant from Series 8 of the Great British Bake Off, which is funny actually. But then, so that's kind of like, okay, wait a second, this is a name,
Nielsen, like somebody using Liam,
right? And then Charles Liam, I put in, and then I see Yeah, it just says the same thing, Wikipedia. So Liam Charles is like a name that nobody would really know, but if you put it into Google, it gives you like, oh, this is like some sort of famous person to some degree somewhere because they have a whole Wikipedia page about them, right? So I want to say to everybody out there who's looking to further their career and go on these castings, number one, do your research. Like, and even despite the fact that I did this, I said, you know what, maybe this guy Charles Liam, I don't know the name, but you know what, like, despite that being the first red flag, stupidly I was like testing the waters and I kind of went on with it, right? So I said, okay, like the deal first off is supposed to be for about an hour and a half worth of work for like $11.50. So that's a pretty good paycheck for just an hour and a half, you know?
That's
and don't let them
$11.50.
$11.50. Yeah, which is on par. I want to say, you know,
for an hour worth of work, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Yeah. So you know, the money is also enticing, but don't let that fool you. You know, again, it's like,
it could also be too good to be true.
It's exactly. But you know, knowing what I know about voiceover work, like, you know, it kind of, I mean, it wasn't totally unreasonable, right? Because originally it was supposed to be over 2 days, but anyway. So then I continue on with it, right? And he sends me a check for $23.50, right? And he sends it to me, and I'm getting the company that sent it to me was this construction company, right? And I'm like, construction, like, what the hell is this? So I Google it. They are $1 billion company, and then I call the company.
Construction company?
Yeah. You know, construction is like, and out in California. So I called them and I said, hi, is there a person who works for you by the name of Charles Liam? And then they looked into their directory, and then they're like, no. Okay, fine. That's odd. You know, sorry to bother you, whatever. And then I find out through him that he said that they're the sponsor, and I was doing voiceover work for like a comic strip that was like for a Fire Emblem series or something. So I thought, I don't really know what this is about still, but maybe construction. Okay, maybe, who knows, in the same, like, sure, they could be a sponsor, you know, for something like this. Who knows? But again, another red flag that's not quite adding up. So to make the rest of the long story short, he sends me a check for $23.50. And he was not really responsive. But what he, not nice. Well, not nice in this way, because then he says, listen, take out your portion of the check and send the rest to my engineer. And I said, wait a second. I said,
why
I was
don't
like,
you cut your own check?
Exactly. Exactly. Because now I'm like, I know the wiser in this situation. So I was like, wait, this is not my first rodeo, you know? So I sat there and I said to him, look, this is how it's going to work, right? You're going to cut me my own check, and you're going to have the company cut another check to your engineer. And then, because at the end of the day, if it's not so much for like losing out on your own money, it's just for the simple fact of taxes. Like, unless there's a paper trail and I get an invoice from the engineer, then how the hell, you know, I would have to pay the taxes on the full amount, which is also something you don't want to do. So anyway, the check bounced after 5 days, and that's another thing I learned in doing this.
You have to call, when you get checks, you have to call the banks.
Or go directly to the bank and deposit it and ask them to check and verify.
Yeah, exactly.
Or check and verify, rather.
Check and verify before you deposit, and then they'll send you to a and then they have a background for wiring and checking all that. Right.
But luckily, I was smart in this situation, and I didn't hand over the money, because what happened, what he tricked me essentially into thinking was that, okay, I'm gonna take $11.50 from this, and the balance would have been $1,000. Like $1,200. So I would have sent $1,200 of my money to this guy, and I probably wouldn't have seen it again.
Right. But you didn't even catch it.
No, I waited it out. I deposited it. I waited it out, and then after 5 days, the check could not be traced back to the bank where it was coming from, and so therefore I was charged.
You shouldn't have deposited. You should have.
Yeah, you know that. I know.
They do their own investigation, and then they say, "Yo, listen, you got it."
Right.
So now it's not traced, and it's put on you now, because it's like in your record, right?
Well, because the money didn't exist, you know. I think this guy, under the name Charles Liam, you know, sat there and created this check, which like was a counterfeit check, whatever, and decided to use that company. I don't know how or why, but you know. So if you see his ad on Craigslist, guys, don't go there.
Okay, wait. All right. So, I mean, what happened with you? I mean, It just
so I didn't. So how I would have been fucked is if I had actually sent the engineer the money, but I didn't. I waited because I was also here's another part that he fucked up on. He was not very responsive. He wasn't getting back to my text, but I did call him and we had a phone conversation. And the phone conversation seemed a little legit. I don't know. There were just like a few red flags that I caught, and I should have just known better.
You deposited the money in your account. It didn't.
Right.
It didn't clear. So
it didn't clear. Exactly.
So what did your bank do for you? Like, did they hit you with
the only thing that happened was that I was charged a $12 service fee for the fact that the check bounced. But then I called Chase right away and I was like, listen, so I need the $12 back because this shit was a fraud case and you need to know. And then they refunded me the $12 because, it's not my fault.
So, I wouldn't have deposited. I would have told your bank to investigate.
I know. And I normally always just go to the bank to give in checks, but this time I did electronically. I don't know why, how, but it's a good learning experience. And I'm just letting all of y'all know out there that
everybody check your checks of the company before depositing, because
I do the background work.
I got hit with a fraudulent check before. Actually, and it was in Chase, and it hit me. It hit me because I deposited it, and I had to pay that. Mine was only in a couple hundreds, though.
You know
what I mean? But don't.
Yeah, but that's how they get it. And then I thought about it, and
scammers.
Yeah, scammers. And speaking of which, so you recently had a situation where you went to a casting.
Yeah, it wasn't really. Yeah, it's recent, but not really. Well, a couple weeks. So
this lady.
So I guess we have to tell the backstory of that.
Just a little,
Okay, so this was also a gig that was presented to me through an online site, which will never be named, but it's Craigslist. So this gig a few years ago, same casting company was put in a movie that was supposed to be. It wasn't even a casting company. It was a movie that you were supposed to be casted for. So it wasn't a casting company because I don't do casting companies unless I know that it's like SAG accredited or something, like, you know what I mean. So I tried to
Central Castings.
Stuff like that. Yeah, with SAG, you know what I mean. So I went through a casting agency before, and I was stuck with them for like a year. It was a legit casting company, but you had to pay. I said after that year was up under their contract, I said I will never go through a casting call again. Through an agency, unless I know that it's some type of SAG certification or something, you know what I mean, where it's SAG certified, it's going to give me a SAG voucher. So after that experience a few years ago, I said I would never. So everything I've been doing is on my own until
freelance,
freelance type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So a few years ago, this was the same person that hit me up again. She put a few years ago. She put it was for a movie. So this was supposed to be a movie casting, straight to the movie, non-union. You're casted through the movie.
Right.
I go to the office of the movie that it was supposed to be a cast to find out it was a casting agency, and she pretty much, the woman who's behind the casting agency, in my opinion, did fraudulent activity because she said it was a movie that you're getting casted for, but it was really a casting agency. So she's fronting like a casting agency.
Right.
That it's a movie casting, you know what I mean? So,
and ironically, you and I had the same experience, but I went through this first on two separate occasions.
And so, so let me get back to years ago. So I go find out it's a casting agency. She wants money. She wants to do your headshots and everything. I'm saying, okay. She says, you know what? Here's my card. Couple of, take my card. Call me when you want to be a part of this casting agency so we can get you into the movie. I said, all right, that's fine. Walk out, rip up the card. I'm like, it was a waste of time. Just a waste of time. Again, through Craigslist, you guys have to watch out for these casting agencies fronting like it's a movie casting, but it's really an agency for you to be under their casting agency.
Right. And what she said to me was that she was offering acting classes.
Right.
So she had us both read something on a piece of paper, and then she's looking at us, and she's like, "Well, that's really good, but I think that you can,
So it's for, I didn't come for casting classes. I came for the movie.
For the movie, exactly.
You were promoting.
Exactly.
That's what I came for. So I left that. Boom. I said I'll never do that shit again. I'll next time be more vigilant and research. So the last couple of years I've been doing that. Been pretty decent doing that. Then
it's just hard,
Yeah, I get hit again. This same woman has now anteed up, where she has assistants now.
Yeah, she has assistants. She brings in an army of fraud people.
She has assistants. So she's been able to get her bread from the people in New York City and the tri-state, to where she has now. You don't go through her in the beginning. You see, a couple of years ago, you had to go through her in the beginning. Now you go through the assistants, and then they refer her name. And when her name comes up, you want to say her name? Because I'm not giving her any clout. I'm not giving her any clout.
Man, I don't even know if it's clout as it is.
I don't know if I want to even say her name. Should we say her name?
Maybe like her last name or some shit. I don't know, man.
I don't even know that. What's her name? I forgot her name. I mean, you know her name, but
what was it? Melinda. It's Melina.
Yeah.
Melina. It's interesting though.
It's freaking. I mean, I know her name, but it's to the point where I don't want to put it out because I don't want to give her clout, or you know what I mean. And I'm sure a lot of people, that if you've been on the Craigslist circuit and seen this person, she's probably doing this every couple of days or maybe every day. Who freaking knows?
Well,
No,
I mean, like, so when I had my interview, so to speak, for this move, so it was a Coca-Cola commercial for me,
right?
And then another one was a Nike search. So the whole ad was about Nike, and we're looking for the new face of Nike and this, that, and I show up and I'm like, is it this bitch again? Like, she's back at it again. Melinda Strikes Again, or whatever her name is. I swear, we need to like make a comic series out of her.
Yeah, because the chick. So a few years later, so a couple to 2019. Again, another movie, and this time she has a team, so you don't see her this time because she's done leveled up.
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean? She done came up, she leveled up, she has assistants now. But when they said her name, gave me the card, I said, oh my God, she has a new office.
Right,
yeah, she was on 8th Avenue. She's around the
heart of Times Square.
Yeah,
exactly.
A brand new office.
But you know what? It's like we're saying to all of you out there again. This is just another example of the shadiness that you can experience. You always, oh man, if they want you to sign up for something you did not go there for, then get out fast. That is the lesson.
Chicago.
She should be a part of the team that's assessing Smollett's case.
Yeah, be in Chicago, do that shit. They fucking, man. Shit. Chicago's a great city, by the way, man. Yeah, I mean, it is really a good city.
I've never been.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Well, from what I know, because I've never really, I think I've driven through past here, but I've never really, you know what I mean? But I mean, from what I know, the culture it has a very rich culture in entertainment and business and politics. I mean, it's a great city. It's like a smaller version of New York in that sense, of the cultural sense. Doesn't have the people like New York. I think it only has maybe 2 million people max. New York has like 8, but it really feels like 10 million here. So let's move on to the new topic.
I was gonna find some sort of segue because I like doing that, but you know what? We're just gonna segue straight into selfies. As you know, I don't know, in the last generation or so now, the selfie game has taken itself to all new heights. We have platforms like Instagram, Snapchat, your phone, Jesus Christ, like even phones are getting good here with the selfie cam, as they want to call it, which is really just the front cam, but let's not split hairs. And a recent article was saying that at the Grand Canyon, a tourist fell. Oh my God, falled. Who am I? A tourist fell 1,000 feet to his death while taking photos. Oh, so, yeah, dude. But here's the thing. So 2 people have died at the Grand Canyon in separate incidents this week alone. Officials said in the latest incident, a man stumbled over the edge of the rim while trying to take pictures, and a helicopter had to lift his body. He was from Hong Kong. Lift his body from the Eagle Point observation area Thursday afternoon. And I don't know about you, but shit, like if there's a ledge without a balcony, without a rope,
Canyon,
without something, get the fuck out of here. You know what I'm saying?
Don't play with God. Selfie. Don't play with God, man, because
God for real.
Always, nature, nature and God will always beat you, man, for real.
Yes. And this guy must have stepped on too many ants or some shit, because he died. Something happened.
But when you go to like the Grand Canyon, don't they have security procedures? Is it really that free? I can't believe the government, because that's a federal attraction, right? Like, that's federal and state, I think. So I'm sure security it has to be perceived. I can't just imagine it being so freeloading for you to be able to even get to that point where you're gonna be playing with your life like that.
I know, but that's what it is. Like that's how programs. So and oddly enough, though, this man was in his 50s, so he's really like generations even after us. But yet, I guess he just and when you're older, you lose your equilibrium. Like you can't.
I think that the height of it, you just lose it anyway. I can't
exactly.
Asthma. Fatigue, you get up that high, you know what I mean? Like, that's just...
I'm gonna start wheezing.
It's not... I mean, I can just imagine... And I'm sure there's always safety procedures when going up there,
Yeah, as in don't get too close to the edge, you idiot, in case you fall over.
Yeah. So now...
Dude, I can't.
Because of something like that... Well, I'm sure... They can't go after the government because actually I'm sure there's safety procedures.
No, and there was a sign. There was a sign that said, because there was no rope, there was no barrier between you and falling.
I'm shocked at, because I'm shocked that at least a barrier where it doesn't have to be as noticeable, but it can be where it's. And like now they're gonna put some type of extra, because these people are gonna try to sue and this government's gonna be like, no.
Yeah, right.
No, we're not paying nothing. But now I'm sure even more extra secure. I'm sure there's procedures, and now it's going to be even more extra procedures. So now people are going to be there, going to be like, oh, this is how it's going to go now.
Well, even furthermore, a study found in a 7-year period, 259 people worldwide have died while taking selfies, and more than 70% were men. Who researchers said took more risks to get a dramatic shot.
That percentage is like 0.000001. I mean, that's pretty good.
Well,
billions of people.
I mean?
That's 59, that's like a minute of a fraction.
Well, you know what? Speaking of which, there was one time I actually came across this guy on Instagram who does exactly this. He's a young guy, and I think he lives in like the Ukraine. And he literally climbs on top of cranes, on top of buildings.
There's warriors of people who do that. They use that. God. They use like the little camera. What is it called? Like
the GoPros.
The GoPros. Those are people like Russia and Ukraine, European and South American, African, like all over the world. There's like warriors, and it's just like, it's a thrill.
It's honestly insane.
I don't play with my life like that.
No, I can't.
At like the Eiffel Tower and like you know what I'm saying? Like shit that's crazy Empire State Building type shit with the GoPros and the shit's crazy slow-mo type shit. You know what I'm saying?
The thing is that you think that you're so skilled, even the most skilled. It's like you're really taking the risk, and it's like they say, you're going to keep tempting fate until it gets you. And
those are shoes where like, all your little piggy toes, you know what I'm saying? Like walking shoes and shit. You know what I mean? Where you could put all your freaking toes in one freaking console of the foot. You know what I mean? It's like, you know what I mean? All that wild shit. I know. It's crazy.
I know.
But like David Blaine of freaking Equilibrium down.
David Blaine, except dead.
Yeah.
I love the segue. So I'm gonna take the selfie segue and go on to Jeff Bezos. Investigators believe with high confidence that Saudi Arabia accessed his phone. So we all know that Jeff Bezos had an affair. Yeah. Bezos, is it Bezos or Bezos? Bezos.
Because it's
Jeff Bezos.
I think adopted father is Cuban.
Yeah, right. Like if you're Spanish, it's Bezos.
Yeah, that's
But Bezos, fuck it, whatever. This billionaire motherfucker with you know what I mean? Like, please, when you're that rich, your name doesn't really matter. It's just you're that rich, you know.
So his wife is about to get it. She's about to be the.
Oh yeah. Stupid on him.
So yeah.
But we all know, you know, it's been in the press that he has cheated on his wife. And, you know, and so what is it that we have, oh my God, I can't even find the word, that we've found evidence that he sent dick pics, right? So talk about selfies, you know, don't selfie with your dick in the frame.
I don't want to talk about men's dick pics. So that's not,
no, but the point is that, you know, so he had these photos that they have since gathered up, and it is speculated on that Saudi Arabia basically tapped his phone to get the pictures and use it against him as blackmail. And the
foreign governments have access to our technology, and this is crazy. But how did they have? So what did they give it to the National Enquirer, or what? How did that? I don't understand.
In February. Right. So it's saying in February, Bezos released a remarkable post on Medium saying that Enquirer and its parent company AMI had attempted to extort and blackmail him with images that he had texted to a woman which he was having an affair. And the story is part of a larger one that feeds into the rivalry between Bezos, who also owns the Washington Post, and Donald Trump, who has described the publication as a lobbyist newspaper and includes an international angle involving Saudi Arabia, which reportedly sees Bezos and the Post as a threat. So basically, it's just, you know what it is? It's kind of like the rich people version of black backstab.
No. If I can understand if a rivalry within the U.S., but when it's international, taking that information and then giving it up, that's a whole different class. That's being honest, I think, to a degree, man, because no matter how much you hate your enemy, you know.
What it's saying here is that so Saudi Arabia is viewing Bezos and whatever his team and the Washington Post as a threat, right?
Right. They're also close with the Kushner family, right? Kushner is close with the next head of the royal, the son of the ruling of the King Solomon, his son. Him and Kushner are pretty close, and there's been this whole thing of them communicating on WhatsApp, you know, and that's being like considered a national threat. So are they saying that they gave Saudi Arabia was able to access and gave it to Kushner? And, you know, they're tied with the National Enquirer. Where's the connection here?
Well, you know what? The other thing I just don't understand. Like, you know what? Here's the thing. When it comes to the government, I'm sure there's always a backstory that we're just not going to get straight. And the media is not going to say it like it is. So I don't really know how this all ties into the bigger picture. But my segue was simply, if you're a dude, don't take dick pics with your face in it and send it to other people, because the cloud, uploading everything to the cloud, you know, the whole point really with the selfie segment here is that, you know, they want us to be programmed. Everybody these days is looking at their phone 24/7. They are programmed into the picture taking, into the social media, all this stuff. And that's why the podcast. That's why you dead, motherfucker. That's why you falling off Grand Canyons. That's why your dick pics are getting sent to fucking Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia.
Oh, that's an L nickname. Saudi, aka Saudi Arabia. Yeah.
Saudi Arabia, fucking audio, sending this shit. You know, it's just the whole thing. You know what? It's because I'm drinking Ace of Spades right now. That's what it is.
My goodness.
You know, hey.
Also use that marketing and promotional advertising check.
Spades. Listen, if they want to hit us up, we should just drink. We should do this show drinking Ace of Spades every time.
No, whoever's gonna cut the check, that's who will be every time. Whoever's gonna cut the check because the advertising dollars, which we will be getting to the next phase.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So we'll hit them up. We'll hit them up and say, hey, can you be our sponsor? Just give us a bottle each show.
We will be talking more about more of the advertising and marketing aspect of this show because we will be getting into other phases pretty soon in negotiations. You know, cross my fingers. Missed church today. Probably should have won. Probably, and this is probably why our guest is not here. But yeah, I mean, great talks. I mean, is there anything else, man? Or should we wrap it up? I mean, how many? Over an hour now? Is it over an hour? What are we in?
No.
John, what are we in?
43. 45 minutes.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, this is good though. Our podcast shows are getting longer and longer.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I don't know. I mean, should there be a wrap? Do we have anything else?
I mean, I think the good parts about this was, you know, we had the hot topic with Jussie. We talked about the scams. So that could be a highlight when we're for the promotion for this show. Just how not to get scammed.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I have the juicy.
Yeah, and then the selfies thing.
Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah.
I think we had some times.
Yeah, man. I think we can wrap it up, man. I think John is getting bored and tired, and he wants to do other things. I mean, edit shit. All right, man. This is the Cast Podcast, episode 6.
Episode 6.
Yeah. So, and we will be tying in our guests. We are John Don on the boards, Luisa L. Almost, I'm Sammy.
Drinking Ace of Spades.
You know, getting litty.
Hey, until next time.
You signing off. Don't be a scammer.
Don't scam. Don't be a scammer. Don't fall for the scam.
This is the don't be a scammer. This is don't be a scam or be a scammer episode 6, and we are the Cast. We out of here.